Imagine stepping into a world where survival meant wrestling mammoths beneath howling winds and ice-choked plains, where every sunrise brought the threat of freezing death and only the strongest endured. This was the realm of the Neanderthals, nature's own marvel of raw power and resilience, creatures sculpted by evolution to be living, breathing embodiments of strength, whose average male boasted the muscle mass of an Olympic champion, the bone density of a second-growth oak, and the lung capacity to inhale sub-zero air as if it were a warm breeze. For over 300,000 years, they dominated Europe and parts of Asia with bodies that functioned like biological tanks, brains wired for hypersensory perception, and survival instincts honed to a razor's edge, until our own ancestors arrived, adapted to outmaneuver and outlast them, leaving us with the haunting question: what exactly made Neanderthals absolute freaks of nature, and how did they lose the battle for existence? When you look at a Neanderthal skeleton, one thing is crystal clear. This is not the body that evolution built for light work. Standing around 5'6", Neanderthals compensated for their modest height with astonishing density, featuring rib cages flared like barrels, torsos compacted to conserve heat, limbs thick as tree trunks, and shoulders broader than a modern powerlifter's. Arms capable of hurling spears with double the force of a trained human athlete, and hands with digits like knotted cords engineered to crush, grip, and wield heavy tools in close-quarters combat, fueled by a metabolic furnace demanding nearly twice the calories of today's Homo sapiens. Each Neanderthal moved through their Ice Age world as a living siege engine, designed by necessity to overpower megafauna and endure punishment most of us couldn't begin to fathom. Contrary to the cliché of the brutish caveman, Neanderthals housed brains larger on average than our own, between 1,500 and 1,750 cubic centimeters. But the true marvel lay in the neural architecture, with enlarged occipital lobes suggesting unparalleled visual acuity, capable of detecting the faintest movement in dimly lit caves, and an overdeveloped parietal region granting near-photographic spatial memory of vast Ice Age landscapes, features that made them uncanny hunters and navigators even in blizzard conditions, though perhaps at the expense of the abstract language and complex symbolism that define modern human creativity, indicating that while they may have lacked our poetic eloquence, they compensated with razor-sharp senses and an instinctive mastery of their environment approaching the superhuman. Neanderthals didn't just endure the brutal chill of the Pleistocene, they thrived in it, evolving into living furnaces whose short, robust frames minimized heat loss, elongated nasal passages acted as natural radiators to warm, frigid air, and genetic adaptations for cold tolerance still detectable in some modern populations, yet their mastery extended beyond biology. They meticulously processed animal hides into insulating garments, stoked fires to maintain life-saving warmth in rock shelters, and orchestrated cooperative hunts of woolly rhinoceroses and cave bears in silent packs, guided by refined tracking and nonverbal communication, demonstrating that their domination of Ice Age landscapes sprang not only from brute strength, but also from cultural ingenuity and strategic collaboration. Nothing underscores Neanderthal toughness like the tapestry of healed injuries etched into their bones, crushed skulls, shattered limbs, dislocated shoulders. Yet these individuals not only survived such trauma, but continued to hunt, forage, and participate in community life for years afterward, a phenomenon now linked to inherited gene variants that blunt pain perception and accelerate tissue repair, reminding us that these were not solitary beasts, but social beings who cared for one another, carrying wounded companions across frozen tundras, tending to fractures without modern medicine, and using communal support to transform suffering into a testament of unyielding resilience written into their very DNA. To dismiss Neanderthals as unsophisticated is to ignore their pioneering innovations. They crafted complex, multi-component tools by affixing flint blades to wooden shafts, with birch tar adhesive produced through low-oxygen distillation, an early form of synthetic chemistry, predating Homo sapiens by tens of thousands of years. And they adorned their bodies and cave shelters with ochre pigments, possibly signaling identity or ritual. A clear sign that beneath the brawn lay a mind capable of chemical experimentation, aesthetic expression, and forward-thinking invention that bridged instinct with intellect in Earth's harshest environments. Though the last Neanderthals vanished around 40,000 years ago, their essence endures within us, Any non-African individual you meet carries between 1 and 2% Neanderthal DNA, influencing traits from immune response and skin pigmentation to metabolism, sleep patterns, and even neurological pathways linked to mood and pain sensitivity, a genetic inheritance that makes every viewer a living testament to Neanderthal endurance and adaptation, proving that instead of disappearing entirely, these Ice Age titans merged into our lineage and continue to shape who we are today. Neanderthals were evolution's boldest prototypes, powerful, instinctive, and brilliantly adapted to a world that chewed up the weak, leaving behind a legacy carved into our bones and woven into our genes. If this deep dive into their astonishing story shocked you, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell for more explorations of ancient humanity's greatest mysteries, because the past isn't dead, it's alive, untamed, and still shaping our destiny.